There are many stories in the Quran and the Sunnah of great men and women who were giants, some good and some bad. Today we will talk about one such giant woman named Anaq, also known as Dello, and her giant son ʿJ ibn ʿAnāq. Although the Quran does not mention Anaq, she is mentioned in some narrations as a descendant of Prophet GDMS. It is related that she was extremely tall, around 60 feet according to some, and the cause of this immense size was her great strength. But she was also known for her disobedience. Her son ʔ ibn ʿAnāq was born with an enormous size, even more gigantic than his mother. He is said to have lived for a very long time, around 800 years. Some say he was created directly by Allah without a father. So Anaq was already old when she gave birth to him. He's described as being so tall that he could touch the clouds or rest his hands on the mountains. He used to walk from one city to another in a single day, taking 40 years to reach his destination because he walked so slowly. He would make such long pauses on the way that whole generations would pass away during his journey. The first thing he would do every morning was to look up at the sky and say, "How could Allah create something as great as me?" And he would repeat this every day. Uthman ibn Uthman al-Hajari reported that once. Uthman was walking through the streets of a city when suddenly the ground began to tremble. Looking up, he saw ʔ ibn ʿAnāq approaching. With each step that Colossus took, the earth trembled like an earthquake. When Uthman found himself before the giant, he looked up and saw ʔ touching the clouds with his hands. Then he heard him say, "How could Allah create something as great as me?" Upon hearing this, Uthman replied, "How could Allah create something as great as you? By creating something greater still." Immediately ʔ became angry and asked, "Who said that?" Uthman pointed towards the sky and said, "You did." Uthman then went on to say that the giant became sad after realizing that he had spoken those words. And the earth shook again as he put his hands together and said, "O Allah, forgive me, for I am weak. O Allah, forgive me, for I am weak." And Uthman continued to say that Uthman then walked away from the giant Uthman ibn ʿAnāq. So some of the giants were good people. They just wanted to know why Allah created them, if he knew they would be arrogant and disobedient. It is narrated that ʔ ibn ʿAnāq used his power and size to oppress the people. He opposed the prophets of Allah and denied the truth. He said to himself, "I am powerful and no one can stop me. The angels and the prophets are afraid of me, so what can these small people do?" His pride came from his body and strength. But although he was so big and powerful, it did not save him from Allah's punishment. In a narration, it is said that finally Allah sent Prophet Moses, and with his permission, Uthman took Uthman's life. This happened because Uthman was arrogant and disobeyed Allah, not because of his size. His great size and power did not help him at all. In fact, the Quran tells us that Allah does not see your bodies. Rather, he sees your hearts. He knows your deeds, and he judges accordingly. Allah says in the Quran, "O humanity, indeed we created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples and tribes, so that you may get to know one another. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you." It's 49-13. So what lessons can we learn from the story of Bian and her son ʔ ibn Bian? Firstly, arrogance leads to destruction. No matter how great or powerful you think you are, remember that true greatness comes from Allah. Only the humble and obedient are truly great in Allah's sight. Secondly, strength, wealth, or size cannot protect you from Allah's justice. Remember that Allah is the most powerful, and no one can escape his punishment if they disobey him. And always remember that Allah is the most powerful and wise. None can stand against him. So let us always remember the stories of the prophets and the pious predecessors and learn from their lives. May Allah grant us the ability to take these lessons to heart and apply them in our lives. Ameen.